2013 Top 30 Comic Book Character List. I invite you, I implore you, I demand from you video responses here. Hit me up with your list, with your top 5, with your top 10, with your top 2013, if that's what you want to do, if that's your prerogative, if that's your need, necessity, and demand. Hit it back. Let us know. Let us hear what you think. Now, also, if you don't want to have a video response, hit it down there. If you need to use 10 comments, if you need to use 10,000 comments, I don't care. Let me know 1 to whatever number you want, how you rank, how you like the comic book characters. Let me know what you think about my choices. Feel free to joke on them, and I'll return jokes on that ass as well. Believe it, and you should, and you shall. So, in continuing with those thoughts, feelings, and in this forum, let me express to you, I have read a good number of the new 52. Got back into comic books a little bit, picked the comic books up, read them to my son. It helped me sort of get just a little bit re-enthused into the line. But a lot of my knowledge comes from the comic book movies, mainly the cartoon ones or the cartoon shows, but also the live-action movies as well. Now, from that pool of information, enjoying a lot of that with my 5-year-old, I have composed a list for you. And tonight you shall gain that knowledge. Now, at number 30, an interesting choice, a strange choice, probably a choice none of you would make. Now, this choice comes from a Suicide Squad, a revamped, a re-envisioned character, Amanda Waller, who is the leader and straight up neutral evil. Yeah, she's on the good side, but she will let that ass get killed. She doesn't care. She wants what she wants. She's malicious. She's vicious. She's a straight bitch. And I quite enjoy her. I like the way that they brought her about. I don't honestly think they really needed to re-envision her, because they tried to kind of hot her up a little bit. And the fact that she was, really ugly and slug-like before, I thought was fine, because let's face it, she was like 1 out of 1 in that idea for comic book characters. For females, they're almost all of them hot. It's like all across the line. I honestly can think of a couple that aren't, but for the most part, come on. Still, I really liked the personality. She was interesting and entertaining to me, in that just the ruthlessness she displayed. The Suicide Squad was very interesting, because you had a lot of better characters and a lot of worse characters. It'd be like, hey, King Shark, okay, you got King Shark, right? And you got Captain Boomerang in the cell together, and then you got like Yo-Yo Man. Now, Yo-Yo Man, like, hey, what you in here for, Captain Boomerang? All right, mate, or on the bank. All right, King Shark, what you in here for? I eat people. We all know who's not going to fuck with in that cell. In fact, like, I'm hungry now. Guess what Boomerang's throwing ass over here? And he'll grab Captain Boomerang up and eat him. I mean, let's face it, if you fight the Flash, you are clearly butt. And that has been shown by, the different cartoon movies that they made. God, Flash's villains are just horrible. But that aside, on the list, number 29, Gorilla Grodd. Gorilla Grodd has man-like intelligence. Some might say he's a genius, but we know he simply has a man-like brain. Gorilla Grodd, particularly on some of the cartoons, has been a very interesting character. For some reason, DC has like another ape with man-like intelligence, which is a horrendous idea. And he's butt too. He's got like a French accent and rolls around with that brain in a jar guy. I always want to smack them. They're bunk for sure. Next on the list is going to be White Queen, a character from the X-Men line. I find her pretty interesting. Her power set is nice, and she was one of the few characters I enjoyed when I read the new Phoenix saga. I couldn't finish that one, man. It just wasn't very well written. It was just like, oh god. So yeah, we didn't quite get through that one anyway. Next on the list is going to be Lobo. Lobo is a pretty interesting character, and he has he's kind of one of those guys that can kind of shift from being between a good guy or a bad guy. So it is interesting. Next on the list is going to be Deadpool. I've read Deadpool kills the Marvel Universe, and I mean, how can't you like Deadpool? After reading that, anything that he's kind of dialed back a little bit on, he doesn't really work, I don't think. He is, I've read some of those comics that I really didn't like. But after reading that, after seeing him just annihilate and kill everyone, I mean, how awesome is it to see somebody just blast Mr. Fantastic in the Nugget and just sort him out, or blast Spider-Man in the face and kill him? Oh, God, do I hate those characters so much. You will notice there aren't very many good guys. I mean, let's face it, look, Lobo and Deadpool and White Queen, really all three of them are bad guys. Yeah, and that's what I like. I root heel, I cheer heel. And you'll notice on my list there's going to be not any probably real discernible difference between male and female characters. Gender doesn't really apply on any list of mine. If I like a character, I like a character. I don't have a preference really one way or t'other. Next on the list is going to be Galactus. This dude eats planets. He eats planets. He's like 7 billion people down my gullet. He doesn't care about you or your hopes and dreams and aspirations. He's hungry. And as a man who likes to eat, I salute Galactus. I salute Galactus with a place on my list. And he best be on your list too, lest he comes and devours your world. Next on the list, Booster Gold. Booster Gold defies a lot of things that would be typical for me on a character list. I don't like time travel in really anything. I think it's horribly, but Booster Gold, sometimes they portray him too straight up. Like when they portray him kind of as a bit more of a joke, as a slob, as a guy who kind of almost rigged it up to be a superhero, and then as a grotesque self-promoter, that's the vibes of me. Like, you know, he's like, oh, let's do a team-up, Batman, and he's all sitting there like filming it, and Batman's getting furious. That's great. That kind of stuff, it makes me laugh. And if you make me laugh, you know, you're definitely going to include you on my list, because that's what I want to do to begin with. Next on the list is going to be Man-Thing. A long time ago, I saw Man-Thing on comic books when I was a kid. I was like, oh, that dude is cool looking. And I saw Swamp Thing. I was like, oh, that dude is butt. Man-Thing is a joint, but he has a sad, tragic backstory. I read a decent amount of Man-Thing comic books, and he is he's pretty neat. You know, pretty neat character. You know, the kind of psychic trauma deals he can do, and the whole murky, filthy swamp deal. Like Man-Thing. He's interesting. Next on my list, Red Lantern Bleeds, and I'm sure there are going to be plenty of you out there that have no idea who that is. She was on the new Green Lantern show, which sadly they canceled after one season, which is ridiculous because they had like a nice cliffhanger, and the show itself, my son loved it. I thought it was very good. I really enjoyed it myself, but you know, they jack you sometimes. So, Bleeds is next on the list. Next on the list after her, back to Marvel. Apocalypse. Apocalypse, a man who gets jacked. Every time he's like, I am Apocalypse. As powerful to you as you are to humans. I am like a god. And now you're whooping my bitch ass. Apocalypse gets beat down till he ain't nothing but a damn joke. Marvel Universe whoops that ass. He's supposed to be like this huge doomsday deal, ruler of the world, baller ass dude from the beginning of time, the mutant of mutants, practically a living god, and he just gets beat. He gets beat on. And a lot of his powers, like, I don't think they rendered him well. Marvel comic books, if you listen to this, hire your main man. I could write you a universe with Apocalypse in it that would sell a lot of comic books. And it would not be the kind of, he's too cartoony is his problem. And they need to strip all that away and kind of go Ancient Alien with him. Trust me, the idea I could use Apocalypse. If I run a game, I might comic book game, I might restrip that character down and use him as a main plot point. There's so much you could do with Apocalypse, but they went a wrong direction with him, and that's why he's so low on the list. Otherwise, he'd be very high. But he also gets job. Like, you can't beat a drum, and be like, this time, really? No, son. And this time, you're going to get whooped again. Oh, look, he doesn't get an ass whooped again. We should have known that was coming, shouldn't we? But even the Apocalypse versus Dracula comic books, he's fighting Dracula. It's like, Dracula, really? It's like, what are you, like, as old as humanity, Apocalypse, and you go fight Dracula? Like, how's that a fair fight? He's just a vampire. I mean, that's, you know, you knew Dracula was going to take a beating, and I think that's the only time Apocalypse ever beat anybody. You know, he does the job. That's for damn sure. Next on the list is going to be Juggernaut. I used to love Juggernaut when I was a kid. He does look cool, but I don't know, the whole character line, the storyline. He doesn't really do it for me anymore. So he's, as a kid, he may have even been like number 1 on my list, but no longer. Next on the list, Solomon Grundy. Solomon Grundy won't pass too. Solomon Grundy, old school from Justice League or the Super Friends. Da, 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 da. Meanwhile, in the Legion of Doom, well, you know, how could you go wrong with the Legion of Doom? You know, they were chilling in Darth Vader's skull out in the swamp of Louisiana. They were awesome, and they were certainly awesome because of Solomon Grundy. Solomon Grundy, or I think it's Cyrus Gold. Solomon Grundy, born on a Monday, oh, whoop that ass! I mean, I may have added some liberal text there towards the end. Still, certainly should be put to place. He's like a damn zombie, and how can a zombie, in fact, itself not be awesome? I love me some Solomon Grundy. Next on the list is Venom, the Venom symbiote. Conversation my son continuously has with me. Asking everything about Venom and the backstory and the symbiote and the origin and Carnage, and I get asked this question about 95 times a day. So, I have Venom on my mind constantly, whether I want to or not. So Venom, definitely going to make the list. One of my son's favorite characters, particularly from a bad guy standpoint. Is, you know, most of the stuff we watch, Venom is a bad guy in. I read some of the new like Venom comic book that had Flash Thompson as Venom, and I thought that kind of sucked. I didn't like that. You know, I'm trying to have some Eddie Brock action. I don't need Matt Gaugan or Geigen or what the hell his name is. No, Eddie Brock. That's your Venom right there, you know. And I love Venom has that weakness, the sonic damage, you know, hypersensitivity, sonic damage. I enjoy that. When a character has a weakness, that definitely works for me. Next on my list, the only Green Lantern to make my list is Green Lantern Soranik Natu. Soranik Natu, the daughter of Sinestro. Her plotline and story is very interesting. And the New 52, I don't know if they've used her at all. If they have, very, very limitedly. And quite honestly, that surprises me a little bit. But that's what they do. If they had the character in there, the character off, I don't think it would really properly count. But what the hell was her name? I think her name was Aya, the navigation computer deal from the Green Lantern cartoon show. I loved that character. She was like an A+, but I mean, I guess they didn't really ever use that character. Like, it was so sad and tragic, and then they never really brought it back. So it was that really pisses me off thinking about that. And the guy, the Red Lantern guy, Razor, like sometimes he was like a little too emo for me, but I really liked that. I loved that storyline. In fact, I thought that was a great storyline that they had. And it seemed to work for my son, and as an adult, I sit there and watch it too. So that's, you know, a comic show has to have, you know, something for the kids, but when it also hits to the adults, you know, that's really, you know, that's really good. I really like that. Next on the list is going to be Domino. When I had gotten into comic books, X-Force had just come out, X-Force #1, and so I was like, oh, well, this just came out, so I guess I'll read this comic book here. I was reading like that, and like West Coast Avengers, and I don't know, some other things. So I read like a lot of the initial X-Force comic books of Cable and Shatterstar I liked, and Domino I liked, but I really think she's an interesting character. I've read some other stuff of hers since then, and I've enjoyed Domino. I think that she's a good character. Next on the list is going to be Mystique. Whenever I have a choice, I choose Blue Skin. I love Blue Skin. If I have I'm playing a character in a game and I have an option for Blue Skin, I will take Blue Skin. Like I'm playing a Twilight at Star Wars, some Blue Skin. I'm playing an Oni in D&D, it's going to be Blue Skin. I think it looks awesome, and the way that they design her, I love her character design, like the Kali Death Skull and everything. I hated the way she looked in the X-Men movie, like she's like walking around like some naked, scaly. I didn't like that. It just looks stupid. But yeah, she's one of my favorites as well. Her power set with the shape shifting is cool. I like that. And next on the list is Darkseid, and Darkseid is very interesting because it comes from something that's horrible. The Planet Apocalypse of DC comic books is pathetic. I mean, it is the worst. Take Apocalypse and the New Gods together, there's nothing in comic books that's worse than that. I'm sure somebody will pull out The Fly from like 1983 and they're like, no, this was even more horrible. Okay, whatever. But in DC Comics, in the universe of DC, I mean, it's a straight up embarrassment. It's like, I'm Marcus de Sade from a different planet somehow. And I'm Granny Goodness. It's like, oh, goodness for me. Your booty. What's good with that? Whoever wrote that, I don't know who they are. They're probably old now because it probably came out a long time ago. But if you see them, just whoop their ass. Just whoop that ass. They need to get their ass whooped for having written that. That is some straight up theft right there. It is horrendous, pathetic, and abominable. You understand? I condemn it and certainly would not condone it. The Gods of New Genesis, likewise, are straight horrible. The Caliban, he was okay, the son of Darkseid, but the rest of them, oof, they're just intolerable. The plot is horrible, almost horrible. And if you like them, that's a jack to you, isn't it? Because your taste is balls. So, yeah, absolutely terrible. Now, that being said, he's actually pretty cool. And the what was it, Batman and Superman versus Apocalypse or something? The movie was really cool, like the way like his beam would come out and just like follow people around. I love the way they drew him. I always thought he looked cool right out the get go when I was a kid. And he's like a real tough dude, you know. He's one of those guys, I guess you can see the ultimate boss level of villain. You know, he's a guy that could stand there and go at it with Superman, and Superman might need to bring a tag team partner in. You know, Superman, one of the worst characters of all time, who's absurdly powerful for almost no reason at all. But I'm Superman, and I can beat down people of my own species who actually know how to fight. You know, I would have no concept of how to do that because I'd had no ability to train at all, because I just kill people if I trained with them. But yeah, he's a horrible character. Now, beyond him is going to be Thanos, who is basically the Marvel Universe equivalent of Darkseid, except Thanos has a more philosophical bent. He's a deeper character. He has more depth dimension. He's probably more intelligent. He's kind of like Superman's power with Batman's mind. That's pretty much how I describe Thanos. He suffers from almost the same problem as Darkseid. A horrible cast around him. Outside of Galactus, everything off of Earth in Marvel's universe is terrible. Terrible. The Kree, the Skrull, the Brood. Terrible ideas. Terribly pulled off. Terribly written. 1 second of thought. Speaking of 1 second of thought, Gladiator. Horrible. My name is Gladiator. What? No, it's not, dude. No, it's not. It's stupid Mohawk man who needs to get smacked in the mouth. Who else to see they even have up there? I mean, just a cast of completely forgettable and terrible characters in the depths of the Marvel space universe. DC space, a billion times better. There's actually some really badass stuff out in DC space. Not in Marvel's, though. Not at all. So, it makes it hard to read his comic books because you're like, oh God, and now I have to read about the Silver Surfer? No! No! Another one of those, you know, just F- characters, you know, the scale of 1 to a billion. Silver Surfer is a -5. So it's hard to engage him because you're like, oh cool, Thanos is doing some neat stuff. Oh God, now they've switched to a different character. I can't withstand this. All right, so next on the list, a nut truck. Apache Chief. You know my boy Apache Chief was going to be on this piece. He's going to drop that big tomahawk chop on you. Apache Chief, just an absolutely outstanding character from the old cartoon. I don't think they actually have ever really made him like a real comic book character, which is just horrible. You know, I'm talking about New 52 Apache Chief, just going out there just chopping people, just growing to be some 25 feet in height, just laying a chopping against people. You know, I love me some Apache Chief. I don't give a damn who doesn't like Apache Chief. You know, you eat a dick if you don't like Apache Chief. How about that? You could eat big old giant Apache Chief's a nutchuck dick. That's how I feel about it. He was maybe on that show my favorite character. I loved him. Like, it was just so cool because he got his catchphrase is so badass. You're nutchuck, and then he just grow all big. And just, you know, he didn't really do nothing after that, but it was still awesome. He didn't really ever chop nobody, but I'm going to say he did, because that entertains me. Like a big giant Wahoo McDaniels just, boom, getting with you. I love Apache Chief. I think he's just a very, very entertaining, very interesting, fun character. So definitely Apache Chief had to be part of my list. In fact, yeah, absolutely. In fact, maybe he should even be higher. I really enjoy him. Anyone that saw the, what was he on? Harvey Birdman, Attorney at Law, where he spills a coffee. that was funny. Everybody like speculating what his power is. Like, no, I grow really big. They've tried to bring him back like on all the different cartoons in like just stupid forms. They had him on, I think, Young Justice, but his character was like a teenager. He was stupid. He's like, he would fall asleep and come on this big astral projected form. No one's trying to see that. No. What we're trying to see is no chunk and just start chopping people. I didn't need to see him as an astral projected. Oh, no. You overthought that shit. You overthought that, and you got an F because that's simple. There ain't nothing simpler than that. No chunk. That's all you need. In fact, I volunteer to write a comic book call for Apache Chief right now. And that'll be the only dialogue. It'll be nut chucking left and right. Just chopping people. Right in the throat. Oh, my throat, it don't exist anymore. I get hit by a 75-foot tall man. Love me some Apache Chief. You better love him too. Yeah. Alright, so next on the list. Nothing moves the Blob. The Gouye slapping, tiptoe tapping, the Blob. Old Frank Duke said he is one of my favorites of a long time. He is very entertaining. I remember, like, Marvel corridors, like, he weighs 550. I'm like, dude, pro wrestlers are building more than 550. How about, like, 1,052 pounds? I would have made him, like, even more grotesquely fat. I always enjoyed the big fat guys in wrestling. The King Kong Bundys, the Abdullah the Butchers, the Kamal Uganda Giants, the Jerry Blackwall Crushers, the One-Man Gangs, the Loch Ness Monster. The list goes on and on. If you was a big fat guy, I was cheering for you. And the same thing with the Blob. Why there aren't more huge fat dudes, I don't know. I don't know why Marvel Comics doesn't, or DC Comics doesn't have a giant fat dude. I'm telling you, if they ever let me write some DC Comics, first thing I do, I'd make a big fat dude. But see, I'd make him a good guy. Because, a big fat dude, how can you go wrong with that? I would love to turn Blob face. I don't know if they ever made him a good guy. I'd make him a good guy right off the bat. There's so much stuff you could do, like have him go to the buffet. Like, I wouldn't even need to fight people. You'd be like, oh, like the buffet. They're like calling the Super Friends, oh, the Blob's here. Like, well, technically we can't do anything. He did pay $5.99 to eat. So, sorry you don't have a business anymore. The Blob put that ass out of business. He had to get down and eat. That's what I'm talking about. A whole comic book of nothing, like a big giant one, nothing but Blob eating page at the page of mashed potatoes and gravy, of some peas and some ice cream sandwiches. The Blob gonna eat, baby. He's got to eat. He needs to eat. He's gonna eat. You know what I'm saying? Love the Blob. Remember that old X-Men video game where you come up and just start sticking a Blob? You played that, like it was one of those side scrollers, like a Double Dragon type game, and you'd fight the Blob, and he'd come up and be like, nothing moves the Blob, and you'd stick him in the face, he'd fall on his ass, and he'd come up and keep sticking him. He was so easy to beat, but he would say that, it's pissed me off. He's like, oh God, I gotta play Nightcrawler or one of these stupid X-Men. I don't like the X-Men. And she'll say, you haven't seen them on the list. I root heel because I like characters that don't suck. But I'd be like, man, how come I can't play the Blob? Like, how can't I just walk around and like hit a button and be like, nothing moves the Blob? I'll pay $0.25 for that every single day. Hell, I'd probably have that game in my house right now if you could play the Blob in it, But of course, you had to play Nightcrawler because everyone was screaming for that action. Nightcrawler. And I remember they had other characters. God, the characters that you played were terrible. I could probably go through like the whole list of all the bad guys that were in it, like Pyro and damned if I can remember. I just remember it was Nightcrawler, and maybe was it Wolverine? I don't even know, but not a list of characters I was particularly obviously impressed with. I don't remember the rest of them. Okay, so after the Blob, there's going to be Joker. Now, Joker can't go that high, really on anyone's list, let's be honest, because there have been unforgivable uses of the Joker over the when of comic books. So this is as high as I could possibly have given him. Maybe I've even went too high. But when the Joker's on, when the Joker's used right, when he's pushed and he's made odd, but he's explained, like when we can understand why and how, and get to see how the Joker's thinking, when we see that absurd level of chaotic evilness in the Joker, boy, can he be a devastatingly awesome character. And then there's that old, like, was it Cesar Romero? That was not cool at all. God, that was terrible. Joker should be almost the perfect evil. You know, I mean, just sheer chaos and utter evil, unforgivably brutal and unapologetic for it. But at the same time, there's opportunity to be conversant with the Joker. He's really can be an astoundingly interesting character. Now, in Red Hood, that movie definitely helps step it up. If you haven't seen that, I do recommend Red Hood. I do not recommend you show it to your kid, though. Definitely not. That one is, there's just an absurd level of brutality, and the Joker is straight. It's just awesome. You know, they do this deal. They're trying to talk to him, like break him out of jail, and like the people breaking him out, like, yeah, Joker, we need you to do this. The Joker like asks him for something, and the Joker just kills all of them. He just kills them all because them is why. And you kind of got into the Joker's mindset. You know, and some of the stuff you do. I unfortunately don't get enough of the modern Joker because I don't like Batman. I think he's massively overexposed, and quite honestly, not that interesting of a character. Okay, you're broody and pouty. All right, go do your weird emo stuff, Batman. I can't get with it. Not a character that I'm particularly interested in, and also a character that the power levels are just wrong on. You know, Batman shouldn't be able to get the wins he gets. He shouldn't. But they're like, well, we like you, Batman, so more wins for you. You know, I never liked booking like that. He's beyond Spider-Man. Like, Spider-Man be beating people all the time. It's like, come on, dude, really, Spider-Man, you won again? Really? You know, when a sad fact is Spider-Man wouldn't beat a lot of those people. You know, if it's better written. And Batman, I mean, even more so, he's just a dude. I mean, okay, he's got advantage going for him in a lot of areas, but I would see him take more of a beating. So after the Joker, it's going to be Black Hand from the Green Lantern comic book. Black Hand, an interesting character in that he's a zombie lord, a necromancer, undead. He's very interesting in that regard. Very, very evil, extremely sociopathic. His ties to the dead. He provides a lot of interest. I guess a fairly newer character as well. Next is going to be Harley Quinn, or Harlequin, or however you want to say her name. A female version of the Joker, and she doesn't have that Cheech Ramirez stench all over her. I read again the Suicide Squad comic books for the New 52, and she was the main reason I read it. She was a very engaging, very interesting character. And she has a lot of depth to her. So I quite liked Harley Quinn. Now, next on the list is going to be Hawk Girl, but not... Like, they did a lot of different stuff with Hawk Girl, and some of it's horrible. But the old, not that old, I guess the one that came around 2000, what was it called, Justice League? I think so. Where they had, like, Batman and Superman, and it had Jon Stewart, Green Lantern in it. That one, yeah, she was an awesome character on that show. She was by far my favorite of the good guys on that show. I liked her a lot. I thought she was very interesting, and the attitude that she had was very neat. So I really liked that portrayal of her. Some of the other versions aren't so good, and some of the stuff with her and Hawkman are just unreadable. It's like, and I'm back, but not for that. So she's kind of a weird. She's like a yo-yo. She's like the Joker. Like there's stuff I really like there, but again, stuff I don't like so much too. Next on the list. And this guy is straight awesome. Atrocitus! That's right, Red Lantern fans. Atrocitus, not only does he have the ring of the Red Lanterns, not only was he the first Red Lantern, not only is he like 1 billion years old, he's this mad philosopher god, and he knows blood magic. He's like, well, now we shall scry the blood tobes. And this dude's like straight fucked demons. Like he was banging out a demon to survive. He's like, well, I guess I gotta convince this demon I love her, and then fuck her. And the stuff that they've shown that he's done over the time to get his cause across is just, he's an awesome character. So, I really enjoy Atrocitus. Next on the list, Larfleeze! Mine! Larfleeze, the Orange Lantern, Agent Orange. Love Larfleeze, the seed of greed. Great, absolute great character is Larfleeze. I really enjoy him, and the backstory they put together for him. He's so sad, it's pitiful in so many ways that he gets a lot of sympathy. At the same time, though, he's massively powerful. He's got the power of a whole corps behind him, and he's just little constructs. I really like Larfleeze. I see tremendous potential for that character in the future. And he's a newer character. He's, I don't know, 5-6 years old in terms of when they made him. Obviously, the character itself is supposed to be older. He's an alien. Again, the fact that DC does aliens well. That a lot of Atrocitus is an alien. Next on the list is Miss Martian, the Young Justice cartoon that they just had. I was so fucking pissed. They canceled that one too. I thought that was maybe the best cartoon series that they've had. I thought that was absolutely outstanding. Miss Martian, really enjoyed the character. She was definitely the best of the characters there. The whole turn, and then like you see her, she's like this little green version of this Hello Megan character they have, and the whole backstory they have there was great. And then you actually see she's like this monstrous white Martian thing. Just a great story, an interesting character, and she's like straight up good, which I don't typically like those characters. So I mean, you can see how interesting and dynamic and multidimensional I found her to have placed her as number 4 on my list. So pretty high ranking to be sure. Next on the list, he has dropped, and his name is Lex Luthor. I believe on my last list he was number 1. Luthor no longer so high. Lex Luthor, I do enjoy, an interesting character. What I really like is the Clancy Brown Lex Luthor. There's a whole series of movies and TV shows with Clancy Brown voiced Lex Luthor, and it was great. They really make Lex Luthor. It's pretty much the same as Batman, except he just never gets to go over. Like, he was like the pinnacle of human advancement. I mean, he's not this like fat Gene Hackman dude. He's like absurdly buff. Like, he's a huge dude, that's strong. And, I mean, he's like straight 18s down the line, or maybe, that's like an 80 term, but like even higher than that, really. Like, his stats are prodigious, and he's extremely intelligent. Probably, quite honestly, the intelligence meter, he probably blows Batman out of the water. I mean, quite honestly, the dude is like the arch enemy of Superman. He's just a normal dude. I mean, that's pretty impressive, particularly with all the ridiculous stuff they give Superman. Next on the list is going to be Batgirl. And this will be the Barbara Gordon version. I know they've had other versions. Don't care about any of those. Batgirl, from coming back with the new 52. Only things I still kind of read are the Green Lantern stuff and the Batgirl. And I think Batgirl is a great character. Her sell factor was so absurdly high. Like in the first comic books, like she's coming back and like she's getting beat down and she's all terrified that she's going to get crippled again. And they put that over and they put that over and they put that over. And I was like, oh, I'm so vibing on this character. I loved the character. I thought, what an amazing job that they've done. And it's a chick that writes it too. Gail Simone, something like that, I think her name is. Great job on Batgirl. I enjoy it. I think that it's very, very well written, despite the fact that she gets like a lot of like G level villains, people you never heard of, but then they do some of those too. They make them mean something. So and she barely edges people out. She doesn't like have these trouncing victories, and she gets beat down a lot. And sometimes people have to do run-ins on her comics to save her, which I like. I like all that. I think that makes it all more believable. Now we come to number 1. Now I wonder how many of you out there can truly say your main man. Who is my favorite comic book character? Think about it. Hit it. Type it in. Leave it as a response right now before I announce my favorite comic book character to you. That's right. He is none other than Foul Sinestro of Corridor of the Green Lantern Corps. The whole story arc, they bring Sinestro back and they make him a Green Lantern. The Ring selects him, the Guardians hold him up. The Green Lanterns try to kill him even though he's now one of their own. Wonderful story. I absolutely loved it. Love the whole Sinestro Corps deal. With the Weaponers and Sinestro rolling hard. But then he goes and just starts just killing people in his own corps because he actually does love his own people. He cares about his people. He has intense. He's just like, it's going to be my way, because my way is best. I know what's best. And he's made deals beyond really where he should have gone, so he's overextended himself. But he's so fueled by pride that he can't admit his own failings, his own shortcomings. And, it just makes the character so interesting. Plus, in the new Green Lantern, he whoops out Hal Jordan's ass over and over and over again. Hal Jordan takes a beating from Sinestro. Sinestro puts beatings on a lot of people. Like, he's not the old clown punk they had back in Super Friends. He'd be wearing like a blue shirt. Sinestro rolled with yellow, and he would beat dudes down. I really, really like Sinestro. He is the fear core at the soul. Love me some Sinestro, my favorite character comic books. I'd like to hear from you. Hit your video responses. Let your main man know who your favorite, top 5, top 10, top 25, whatever it may be. Let me know who your favorite comic book characters are, and take as many comments as you need. Hit your video response, if you will, baby. I'm a fan.